ready.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, hold on.
It's looking good. I promise. You got further than I did.
Can everyone see your presentation?
I can see it.
Cool, perfect.
Thank you, Catherine, for your comment.
There we go. Do you want to start?
Yeah. Is there any way we can make it full screen or slightly bigger, perhaps? Is that challenging things? If not, no worries. Oh, not bad. Yeah, that's slightly bigger. Okay. Right. Well, by comparison, only with the previous two seminars, I guess mine is a bit different. So not so much a workshop as an introduction to the college of which I'm a principal, and that is the Hippocratic Institute. And I'm Andy Patterson. I've been a practitioner since 1998. Where I started out as a massage therapist. And since 1998, I've added on just about every modality in natural health as I've gone along. I think most people find, they think they're going to learn one modality in holistic medicine, and then their interest propels them forward and forward and forward, till eventually you end up with a bookshelf like mine, and you end up, with a great deal of clinical skills you want to pass on. And that's where I found myself. I'm also a teacher of biology, have been since 2003. And so I've kind of mixed, throughout my career, I've mixed and matched therapy and teaching. And ultimately in 2016, ended up teaching therapy with the College of Naturopathic Medicine, where I taught biomedicine and I taught nutritional biochemistry. And there I learned many a thing about, I suppose, the dynamics of other learners who are also interested in holistic medicine. And from that learning, I have taken my market research and my knowledge from that and formulated a college, which is, the whole ethos behind the college is that it's accessible for people who may otherwise struggle to get training. So next slide, please, Siobhan. Oh, thank you. Oh, this feels good. So you'll see this webinar. I will make this available after this weekend on my blog, and if possible through IPHM. But they're the slides. Obviously, we're not going to cover them all off in detail, but each one of those topics there is a slide from this webinar, and it's basically a brochure which introduces the college to people, and I think it answers most of the basic questions about the Hippocratic Institute and what we do. So I think what I'll do throughout this session is I'll keep an eye on the time. On the first, maybe first 10, 11, 12 slides, I'll just go through, and then after that we can have maybe question and answer, or maybe we can just skip a few. But the essential stuff is in the first few slides, obviously. So next slide, please. Thank you all. It's important to start with an idea of our aims, really. And because the whole ethos of the college stems from, that approach, and what we do is very much guided by that. So as I mentioned before, we want to make natural health training accessible, and in order to do that, obviously affordable as well. And as well as keeping it accessible and affordable, the aim is to deliver training of high quality. And so how do we square that circle, of keeping the courses high quality and affordable and accessible is what I'm going to relay to you in this webinar. So a major aim is not to turn your life upside down. So one of the things I learned from my travels is that many people who are perfectly capable and would be really well suited to working in natural health, they have adult lives and they do things like have families and they work and they study other things and they have caring commitments. And many of the high-powered courses in natural health that give you professional status, they are very demanding insofar as if you've got those level of lifestyle commitments already, then it becomes hard for you to access those courses because many of them require attendance or many hours of study. You can't flex the study. And so, the Hippocratic Institute is there to address that pain point. And we are also, as another kind of aim or one of our ethics, if you like, is that we're very practically focused. So the aim of the course is to get you practicing before you even leave the course. And so much of the training and much of the assessment is based on case studies and on practical activities rather than that's not to say there aren't academic aspects to the course, but rather than exams, writing essays, very technical training, we're much more hands-on. And it's when you get hands-on is when you actually do the real learning, I've discovered. So our approach is to make practitioners and not paper graduates. We don't want to wave you off into the distance with a piece of paper. That doesn't do you any good. And I've seen too many times practitioners fail at that hurdle is they don't feel equipped enough to actually go on and extend their practice into the community. And that's very much what we want to achieve. Now, another aspect of our aims is that 21st century medicine, however it's delivered or through whatever outlet, it needs to be integrative in its approach. It needs to incorporate holistic approaches. And we get a lot of lip service to that idea, but very often it doesn't filter down to actually working with real patients. And so, our approach is to make our curriculum as friendly as possible to that possibility. So we want integrative medicine, and to that effect, if I said to you a natural health practitioner belongs in every community, I think that conveys the dimension of what we're thinking about here, which is, imagine, and this is perhaps not too distant a prospect, but and this has actually happened in various instances throughout the pandemic. Imagine a scenario where healthcare is failing and can't be delivered to people who need it. And yet there is a layer of natural healthcare practitioners in the community, in every community, who are able to offer all different degrees of care, whether that's helping people with self-limiting problems, helping people with community level care, social prescribing, that kind of level of holistic medicine is very much in need, and yet it's not materializing on the ground rapidly enough, at least not through the conventional holistic medicine training schools. And so there is a kind of radical aspect to what I'm proposing here, which is, if you've got a passion to help people using natural medicine, then we're a vehicle for you to get professional status and to achieve that aim. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this slide shows our courses, and we offer 3 courses, and going from left to right, they basically build on top of each other. So in the first instance, we offer a medical sciences certificate, which is basic founding in anatomy, physiology, pathology, disease, and differential diagnosis. It's responsible to learn that first and foremost, because then you'll be a safe practitioner. That's a 12-month course. it's taught weekly over 33 modules, which sounds like a lot, but actually it fits into either one academic year or 12 months quite comfortably. And that course is of a foundation degree level. And we regard it as the prerequisite course for the other trainings that you can do at the Hippocratic Institute. And the next course along is the Naturopathic Nutritionist Diploma, which is, I suppose, if you like, a flagship diploma that we offer. That's an 18-month course, and it's delivered over 18 monthly modules. Now, that is a practitioner level course, which is of a degree standard. And then finally, we've got a postgraduate level practitioner course, which again is 18 months over this time 20 modules. And that's more for already existing practitioners or graduates of our naturopathic nutrition course. Next slide, please. Now, many people have got questions about progression between courses and whether they're exempt from doing a particular course or whether they satisfy certain prerequisites. And this slide is just designed to deal with those questions as efficiently as possible. So you can see the courses stacked up on top of each other, gives you an idea of progression. So medical sciences, then naturopathic nutrition, and then the more specialized master herbalist diploma afterwards. And each course is prerequisite to the next. Now, to be exempt from, for example, doing medical sciences, you would have to have a level 5 or foundation degree level course in biomedicine, anatomy, physiology, pathology, disease and or differential diagnosis. And you would need to supply evidence of that qualification. But I'm quite interested to see your transcripts actually and the details of the curriculum you've studied. So it's not just as simple as getting a level 3 pass in anatomy and physiology and then hoping to come onto the course. And that's not because we're keen to turn people away or there are any issues with being superior. It's not to do with that. It's to do with making sure that you are competent in the medical sciences, so we can train you up from naturopathic nutrition level upwards to the appropriate standard. So actually, our medical sciences course is very good, and we're keen to kind of promote that as much as possible. And the cost of it, by comparison to other courses, is not very high. So although it may seem like I don't know, a bit of a step down, or a hurdle to get over before you start training the stuff you really want to do, the nutrition, well, the medical sciences must be done as a prerequisite. It is possible also to access the master herbalist course if, for example, you have some degree level training already, so a medical doctor, a nurse, an osteopath, chiropractor, a pre-existing nutritional therapist, or somebody who's graduated from our course can progress to the master herbalist directly. So that's roughly the idea behind progression, exemptions and prerequisites. You can of course contact us because everybody has specific situations, and hopefully I can help you out if you show me your transcripts. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, there is the possibility of what I've called here concomitant study. I think the word concomitant is just not used enough in the world, and so I've brought it to the fore. Concomitant study is possible at the Hippocratic Institute. You can study medical sciences and naturopathic nutrition together. And the reason for that is, as I was saying on the previous slide, medical science is important to get. You can also learn it alongside naturopathic nutrition up to a point. And the value of doing that is, I have noticed through teaching biomedicine that, people are attracted to working in holistic medicine because they want to work with people, and they've got, a high degree of people skills, and they're quite holistic in their approach. And so the thought of studying biomedicine, which is quite hard science in places, for a whole year is a bit much for some people. So I've allowed the medical sciences and naturopathic nutrition courses to progress together. So that's okay up to a certain point on the naturopathic nutrition course. So the point you start taking case studies, you would have to have finished the medical sciences teaching modules on the course for fairly obvious reasons. I mean, we want you to be competent. We want you to be able to identify red flags, for example, to know when somebody needs to be referred before you could start taking case studies. But anything up to that point, you can chop and change your study. It would be nice to see you finish medical sciences before you start doing case studies, though. Next slide, please. This slide is just a summary of the total qualification time for each course. So a lot of thought has gone into each course, actually. And you'll notice, if you look at the bottom row there, that the total hours for each course is the same, but each course has got its own particular flavor. And I suppose medical sciences stands out being slightly different from the others because there is a practical component which is based on clinical examination skills. So there is actually a weekend where you practice clinical examination skills and are actually assessed on clinical examination skills, as I'll explain shortly. And the time you spend on that in medical sciences is flipped in the other two courses, and you do instead case studies. So there are slight differences between the courses, but they all even out at 425 hours each. Next slide, please. Just take a quick look at the time. So actually, that talking of time, that does lead to a question of time scales. So all the courses are 4 to 5 hours, and they are designed to run over 12 to 18 months, depending on the course. But you can flex that. You know, as I said before, we want the courses to be accessible to you, and we want you to complete the courses as well. So you can finish the course sooner or later, depending on where you're at in your life. And if, for example, you want to finish the course sooner, there's only one real impediment to doing that, and that's if you choose to pay for the course monthly, the minimum time it would take you to complete the course would be the payment period, and that's 18 months. So provided you have paid up on the course, you can complete it in any amount of time you wish. So I think 18 months for the naturopathic nutrition and master herbalist course is a good pace, and I'll explain the hours imminently. And I also think 12 months is a good time period for the medical sciences. But you might find yourself, you've got a lot of free time suddenly, or you're on a sabbatical or a break, and you want to crack on with the course. That's okay to do so, provided you've paid up and the payment handlers are happy for you to finish the course before you get the certificate. So that's fine. If you were interested in extending the course, say longer than 18 months, because life happens, then that's fine too. You just need to let the college know, and there's a small charge of £50 in order to keep the course going longer than 18 months. And you could extend for as long as you like, really, because again, the aim is to actually finish you up and get you as a practitioner. And so we don't think you should be just because you don't complete the course in an allotted time, that you should be disbarred from doing so altogether. So as an average, we've got, I've done the maths for you, 425 hours divided by 18 is 23.5 hours per month. That works out at only 6 hours per week. In truth, it's between 6 and 10 hours per week we would hope that you can spend studying. And the reason it varies between 6 and 10 hours is depending on your degree of experience and familiarity with the course material. You may already be a trained practitioner in a discipline. You might find you can progress quite quickly through a course, where somebody else might want to take longer. Then, of course, there are the option of drilling down more into the course. We give you lots of extension material and extra reading. If you really wanted to make this a deeply enriching study experience, then we'd be happy to support that. And you can, of course, do more than 6 hours per week. You can do many, many more. Next slide, please. So the delivery on the course is a mixture of reading materials, and there are seminars, there are group tutorials on Zoom, and there are one-to-one tutorials as well. You progress through the course on a module by module basis. There are end of module multiple choice tests, and then there are the practical exercises, and there are the clinical case studies. And for the medical sciences course, there's clinical examination skills as well. Next slide. Okay, now you can get this information off the Hippocratic Institute website, and the web address is included in this PDF, but just in case you want to go on, it's hippocratic.institute. That's all you need to type into your web browser, hippocratic.institute, and you will find that the curriculum is there. You can click in within the table on the curriculum, and you can find the learning programs for all of these courses. But I've just put a summary of each course on this PowerPoint, just so you can see what the topics are for each subject. So if we could just advance through this slide and the next one and the next one, and that's right. I think if we just go one where we were. Ah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just wanted to mention the with the clinical examination. That is a feature of our course, which I believe is unique. It's certainly unique for a hybrid distance learning and attendance course, such as ours, of our scale. But it's also quite unique compared to many of the big colleges and their offerings as well. The only kind of place you're going to get clinical examination skills taught in the manner in which we teach it is if you do something like a degree in chiropractic or osteopathy, or a degree in nutritional science. Maybe there are many nutritional courses where you don't do clinical examination skills. You might study pathology and disease, but I've noticed that many graduates of naturopathic nutrition programs, they have a kind of moment where they freeze because they might know a whole bunch of diseases and how to characterize them, but they haven't been taught how to diagnose them on a patient. So they get to a point where they just lose their confidence quite early on. And I've seen that many times. And I don't want graduates from the Hippocratic Institute to feel that way. And so the idea behind the clinical examination masterclass is to give you confidence. So that module is taught in parallel to the other modules on the medical sciences course, but there is a clinical examination weekend where it's assessed by OSCE. So they're basically clinical examination skills, practical competencies ticked off on a tick sheet. And it's done by continuous assessment. So rather than being put on the spot and being asked to, I don't know, diagnose somebody's, do a cardiovascular exam, for example, you would be naturally practicing that anyway off a demonstration that I've given. And when I see that you're making the appropriate tests and drawing the appropriate conclusions, then you pass the course. So it's not a confrontational style test, it's continuous assessment, all designed to build your confidence. Okay, next slide, please. And I think at this point, it's 3 o'clock, and I'd quite happy to take any questions. And the rest of the course is more about extension activities at the college.
Would you like me to keep the slide up?
It's okay, Siobhan. It's 3 o'clock now. Do you want me to carry on, or?
It's completely up to you. Look, there isn't anyone booked in till 3:30, so It's completely up to you.
Okay, well, I can finish the presentation. I've still got lots to
Yeah.
do. Okay, unless anybody's got any questions, happy to.
If anyone's got any questions, you want to pop them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself.
Okay, well, I'll carry on if that's all right.
Yeah, of course you can.
It feels good to carry on.
Can you see the presentation?
No, it says Siobhan has started screen sharing. No, I can. Brilliant.
Yeah, cool.
That's great. Okay, so yeah, we'd got to slide 16, and we were talking about the clinical examination skills masterclass, and this slide is about the professional development weekends. So they're similar in some ways to the clinical examination masterclass. Each course has a terminal face-to-face weekend where we spend some time together and go over outstanding aspects of the course, any professional development trainings that are required. And in the Naturopathic Nutrition Diploma and the Master Herbalist Diploma, the professional development weekend is for all different kinds of purposes, not least of all talking about the next steps for you. Some of it is submission of coursework, and some of it is, if you like, it's basically a big party, I'll be honest. It's a chance for us to get together and meet each other. And the location of the professional development weekend can vary. There's no problem with that moving around. And I'll move it around according to where the main locus of the students are at any particular year. So at the moment, we're thinking of Manchester. There will be a professional development weekend for each course once a year, and that's covered in the training costs that you pay. You would only need to pay for an overnight stay locally at a B&B hotel or whatever you do in order to complete the course. Next slide, please. Yeah, now this was a comparison of case studies and practicum work on the Naturopathic Nutrition and Master Herbalist courses. And there's a fair bit of detail there. So what I'll just say in outline is that, well, both courses have case studies, so they're practically focused, but the case studies are not kind of landed on you from, on high. The way we work with case studies is it's very much a graded learning experience. So we start off holding your hand, stepwise fashion, very achievable steps, if you like, worked examples within case studies. And by the time you finish the naturopathic nutrition course, you're flying, hopefully, and you'll be able to do 3 real life case studies, which are submitted as part of your assessment. For the Master Herbalist course, it's more intense. It's expected that you can handle the courtesies, the professional standard of a case study. So you're expected to do 6 real life case studies of 3,000 words each. And that's submitted at the end of the course, which is part of your assessment. In addition to the case studies, there are practicum exercises throughout the course as well, and there are options for you within those practical assignments, so you don't have to do them all. In total, actually, the practicum for the naturopathic nutrition course is 15%, and for the Master Herbalist course is 10%. But what I noticed when I was doing market research and talking to students about what they were looking for from a herbalist course in particular, they were very keen to be able to formulate herbal medicines themselves, and to be able to do medicine making. And I quite agree, it's great fun. But that's by comparison to what we might call brown bottle herbalists, who know which herbs to use for which conditions and just pass them on, sometimes from a supplier without even having seen them themselves. We want you to have the skills to be able to make medicines, and so that's reflected in the assessment structure of the course. So there is a practicum on the herbal medicine course. You have to choose, do you want to make syrups, ointments, extracts, you know, encapsulate, make teas, oxymels, you name it. There are options there for you. Similarly, on a naturopathic nutrition course, there are quite a few options actually to jump off and do practical exercises. So some of that is recipe making, and you know there are all kinds of nutritional recipes you can make. But also there is the option to do cleansing and fasting and detoxification work, or to take your own or somebody else's functional medicine labs and do a written piece on that to analyze that in depth. And then we've also got naturopathic case-taking skills as well as part of the naturopathic nutrition course. So that includes things like iridology, tongue diagnosis, pulse diagnosis, skin, nails, all the things that orthodox doctors used to do years ago, but have mysteriously stopped doing now. So we give you the opportunity to work with there's a lot of flexibility within the practicum exercises. I'll say that. Next slide, please. And the great thing about our courses is they're accredited by IPHM, of course, and the Complementary Medicine Association as well. So by the time you start taking real life case studies, you will need to have student membership of one or both of those professional bodies. And the IPHM is who we're here with today, and highly recommended to get student membership and student indemnity insurance with as well. And when you start the course, it's not essential, but by the time you're doing case studies, I suppose for fairly obvious reasons, you know, you will have to be insured. And so there are membership bodies in order to do that. Next slide, please. For the herbs course, it is possible to make an application to the URHP. So that's United Register of Herbal Practitioners, of which I'm a member. And URHP is an eclectic herbal medicine organization. It doesn't directly accredit courses, but it does permit applications on an individual basis. So they've got members from all different walks of herbal life, from Tibetan herbal medicine, North American, Chinese, and Western medicine as well. And our Master Herbalist graduates are encouraged to apply for URHP membership. And to that effect, what I've done is I've designed the Master Herbalist curriculum to dovetail with the URHP occupational membership standards. And to be specific, the assessment of the Master Herbalist Diploma requires 6 live case studies with follow-ups of 3,000 words each. And that's exactly the same requirement that the URHP have got for their membership. So I guess it goes without saying, you'll get a letter of recommendation from the Hippocratic Institute if you want to apply to the URHP, but it's not necessary because IPHM and CMA are both will insure you and accredit you to practice herbal medicine. That's fine. So you've got lots of options on graduation. Oh yeah, there's one final thing to say about URHP, which is they are a smaller organization than the National Institute of Medical Herbalists, yet they are, between them, URHP and National Institute of Medical Herbalists are the only 2 EHTPA approved professional bodies in the UK. So that's the European Herbal Traditional Practitioners Association. And membership of the URHP does confer on you quite high professional status. For example, you would get access for trainings on how to use Schedule 20 herbs, which are commonly classed as poisons in the law. So you would be able to use those. Okay, next slide, please. Mention of Herbalists Without Borders. So the Hippocratic Institute is also a member of Herbalists Without Borders, and they are again another smallish organization in the UK, but nevertheless they've got a lot of reach, I think, and they are a non-profit global network, and they provide compassionate, holistic care to communities and countries in need that are impacted by natural disasters or violent conflicts or poverty or trauma and other access barriers to health and wellness. And so you can see their aims very much align with the aims of our college, which is why we've decided to partner with them at an early stage. So both our Master Herbalist and Naturopathic Nutrition students are strongly encouraged to participate in Herbalists Without Borders initiatives and activities. And for example, one of the things we do is during your professional development weekend, if you have created herbal medicines or any naturopathic or nutritional recipes, and you bring them to the professional development weekend for assessment, then if they're deemed to be of a good enough standard, then in other words, they passed a quality test, then we can charitably give them away or sell them on at cost price. In various scenarios, Herbalists Without Borders in the UK is currently working with asylum seekers from Calais, for example, and there's a lot of work we can do with people who are struggling to access naturopathic healthcare and herbal healthcare by these kind of initiatives. Next slide, please. Thanks. Now, there are and will be in future more and more contributions from other lecturers. So these lecturers are specialists in their field, and they will talk about their particular aspect or their particular specialism to give you an insight into what that is about. So, for example, we have contributing lecturers with specialisms in functional medicine, in ketogenic diet, in fertility and wellness and motherhood. And so all of those contributions are greatly received by us, and they're in the form of a webinar which are delivered within the course. And so the aim behind that is to diversify the offering we've got for you, but to also to kind of plug you into the bigger aspect, the bigger, wider world of all social media and all the different organizations and practitioners and types of practice that you'll see around you once you graduate. So you're encouraged to take part in those, and also in any events or networking or training opportunities, particularly those that are offered by the accrediting organizations such as IPHM, such as this organization, would be a great one for students to attend. Next slide. I'll just keep an eye on time. Okay, around February time each year, so coming up, students are encouraged to participate in our college cleanse. So we have a spring cleanse, and that includes a variety of herbal medicine detoxification protocols and fasting and dieting and skin brushing and castor oil packs and all kinds of crazy naturopathic stuff, as is appropriate to your particular health need. And of course, students are encouraged to join in. You can use that experience, a write-up of that experience, as part of your practicum coursework. And I think it's very important to do these things because if you are going to be in a position as a practitioner of recommending these therapies to people, then it's quite important that you've done it yourself. You should never really recommend a therapy to somebody that you haven't tried yourself. And so this is quite empowering for you and really good for your future clients as well, is to say, yes, I have done that. It is good, or watch out for these small things that you need to manage along the way, So there's lots of good things come from walking your talk and doing a spring cleanse at the college. Each student gets a box with the appropriate herbs to do a colon, liver, and kidney cleanse. And we will talk about in the group tutorials, of course, how to supplement that by using other naturopathic techniques. Hopefully, it's a routine that you will learn and then go on to apply for the rest of your life and help other people with as the need arises. Next slide, please. The college has got field trips on offer, depending on which course that you're on. Master Herbalists would be invited to go to the Chelsea Physic Garden, and naturopathic nutritionists to the Garden Organic Demonstration Garden, which is in Ryton in Warwickshire. They've also got a heritage seed library there, and that kind of the biodynamics and permaculture and organic nature of food and growing of food from, if you like, from field to fork. Those are aspects which we don't ignore at the college, and in fact we very much emphasize as the natural and vibrant nature of food, and how really to supply yourself locally with good quality food, which is so much healthier for you. Now, these field trips, interesting though they are, they're not essential for you to attend. So it's not a requirement. It's not assessed in any way. It's just for fun. And it's just really as an extension activity. And yeah, there's nothing more than that, really. There isn't one on the medical sciences course because, well, it would be possible to, for example, attend a medical museum or some kind of event. My ear is open to that if anybody wants to do that, but I'm anticipating most people would prefer to do something like this with a more natural aspect to it. But the medical sciences students could also do something else if they wanted. Next slide, please. Oh yeah, a quick mention of books. These are the required books on the course. So each course has got 3 required reading books. So by required, it means they're not optional, that actually some of the reading of the course is in these books. So you wouldn't be able to complete the course without having these books. So to that effect, I've made sure that they're widely available books. So they're ones that, they're not going to go out of print very quickly. And, I've given the editions of each book as well where appropriate. So we're all literally singing off the same hymn sheet. I've given the approximate cost of each course on the right-hand side. And that is, if you like, the retail price from Amazon. Now, I know that you can get these books much cheaper either in Kindle or PDF form or secondhand, and all of that's fine. I'm just giving you the if you like, the retail price to give you an idea of costs. But beyond those books, you don't have to get any more, and they really are good reading, and they will last you throughout your whole practitioner career. And in fact, many of them are classics, actually. Next slide, please. And there are the books on the left-hand side of the screen there. And I've also mentioned recommended reading. So rather than required reading, which was what the previous slide was about, the recommended reading list is also available and in the learning programs, which you can get from our website. And you only need the 3 set books for each course to complete the course, but there is so much more on offer. And we don't just offer advice on which books to get, depending on what you might specialize in future or what you might be currently interested in. We also offer advice on which workshops and seminars to attend, on which social media and blogs to follow. So really the college is there as if you like, a library, a virtual library or resource for you to please pick our brains and find out more. Next slide, please. Okay, so pricing on the course. I did toy with the idea of putting this right at the beginning and that's because I'm tired of getting the spiel on a course and then the pricing at the end as though it's some dirty secret. And I really don't feel that way about our courses. I'm very proud of the pricing we've got and the pricing policies we've got. So the courses are accessible, yes, but affordable. And our aim is to make sure you can get through the course with ease. And so we've also got monthly options for you as well. Now, I've included prices in dollars there, which might seem a bit eccentric, but the reason for that is our virtual learning environment, the payment handling system on that is in dollars, which is a bit unfortunate, but going with that, the prices are in dollars, but they assure us that when you check out with, it's actually Stripe, the payment handler. So when you check out with Stripe, you'll see the price in pounds sterling as you go through. So and it will not exceed the single payment price you see on the left hand side of our table there. So in the table, the price that says single payment is all of the prices in dollars and the monthly options, etc. They're all anchored to that single payment price in pounds that you see on the left hand side. So the medical sciences certificate will never exceed £1,500, and so that's the logic behind that. The monthly payment options, I should let you know, are charged plus 15% of the single payment amount. Although it does make it more expensive in the long run, each monthly payment is more affordable that way. So in line with our aims and our ethos, we believe we offer the lowest and fairest value possible without any gimmicks. We don't do coupons or time limited deals, none of that, just a fair price, and we keep it as low as we possibly can all year round. And yeah, I think that covers most of the pricing issues. Next slide, please. All that remains is to say thanks for watching, and thank you very much, Siobhan and IPHM, for allowing us this opportunity to talk about the college. There are our various means of contacting us, and actually, if you've got any questions, please, you can email Zoe at the.hippocratic.institute@gmail.com, and she's the college registrar. She'll be able to answer any of your questions. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry, I was just trying to find all the buttons then. Thank you so much for that.
Oh no, thank you very much. I feel like I've had double the time. So
you got double bubble.
Well, thank you twice.
You are welcome. Thank you so much for that. That was really in depth and really helpful. Did anybody have any questions or feedback that they wanted to pop in the comments, or you can unmute yourselves? But no, thank you, Andy, for giving up some time on your Sunday to tell us all about your amazing college. It's amazing. Yeah, well, thank you very much. I'll stop the